dying, death, and awakening in the beyond, the immortality of the spirit. Revelations of Jesus Christ from 1884 to 1950. Thus saith the Lord, this is the era in which humanity awakens to the beauties of the Spirit, in which it will grow interested in the eternal, and asking itself, what will the life that awaits us after death be like? Who, however unbelieving he might be, has not asked if something exists within himself that will survive the material form? Truly, I tell you, there are none who do not sense this mystery, who do not meditate on the unfathomable at some point. Concerning the spiritual life that appears so far away, but is, in reality, right before your very eyes, some wonder, others are confused, and again others deny it. Some speak, believing they know everything, while others remain silent and wait. Yet so few there are who truly know something of the beyond. During the third era, I have left the tomb of the forgotten in which humanity had held me, in order to resurrect humanity. For I am life. None can die. Even the one who takes his life by his own hand will hear his conscience asking him to account for his lack of faith. My doctrine is not only for giving you strength and confidence during your passage on this earth, it is also to teach you to leave this world, to pass the thresholds of the beyond, and enter the eternal homestead. All religions comfort the spirit in its passing through this world, but how little they reveal and prepare you for the journey to the beyond. That is why many consider death an ending, not knowing that it is from that point onward that you may see the infinite horizon of true life. Death is merely a symbol. Death exists for those who fail to attain knowledge of the truth. For them, death continues to be a specter, behind which either the unfathomable or nothing awaits. It is to you that I say, open your eyes and understand that you will not die either. You will be separated from the material, but that does not mean that you will die. You, just like your master, possess eternal life. Preparation for the departure from this world. You must understand that you, gifted with a spirit, are the Father's most beloved work in His creation, for in you He placed spiritual essence, characteristics, and immortality. Death does not exist for the spirit, not death as you know it, the ceasing of existence. The death of the body cannot be death or an ending for the spirit. It is precisely when the vessel closes its eyes to this world forever that the spirit opens its eyes to a greater life. It is only an instant of transition upon the path that leads to perfection. If you have not yet understood it this way, it is because you still love this world much, and you feel closely tied to it. It worries you to abandon this dwelling, because you feel that you are the owners of what you possess here. However, there are also those who have a vague, foreboding sense of my divine justice, and they fear to enter the spiritual world. Humanity has loved this world too much because its love has been misdirected. How many have succumbed upon this earth because of that? How much the spirits have become materialized for that same reason? Only when you have felt death's footsteps close to you, when you have been gravely ill and suffering, when you think that you are only a step away from the beyond, from that justice that you fear, only in those dire straits do you make promises, pledging to the Father to love, serve, and obey Him on earth. Men have loved this life so much that when the time comes to depart from the earth, they rebel against my will and ignore my call to them. They reject the peace of my kingdom and ask the Father for more time on this earth in order to continue possessing their ephemeral riches. Learn to be sensitive so that you will intuitively become aware of the spiritual life. Do not be satisfied with your life on earth, which marks the beginning of your spiritual development. For beyond this world, there exist superior creations. Do not attempt to reject death when it closes in on you by my will. Additionally, you must not seek out the man of science, attempting to miraculously prolong your existence, thus opposing my will, for you will both weep bitterly over that error. Prepare yourself in this life, and you will have no reason to fear your entry into the beyond. While you are on earth, you shall love the things of this world only to the degree that they will help you to fulfill its laws. But you must always be inspired to come to dwell in the elevated spiritual mansions, so that when your spirit separates from its material body, it will be neither confused nor tempted by those things that it loved on earth. If it yields, it will become a slave to them and remain in this world to which it no longer belongs and can no longer enjoy. Have mercy upon yourselves. No one knows when the moment will come in which his spirit will separate from the flesh. No one knows if, on the very next day, his eyes will open to the light. Everyone belongs to the Lord of all creation, and you do not know when you will be called. Remember that not even the hair upon your head belongs to you, not even the ground that you tread upon, that you yourselves do not belong to you, that you have no need of temporary possessions, for your kingdom is also not of this world. Spiritualize yourselves, and you will possess everything in righteousness and in proper measure, according to your needs. And when the moment of your renunciation of this life arrives, you will elevate yourselves, full of light, to take possession of that which belongs to you in the beyond. The passage to the other world. Every moment, my voice calls you toward the righteous path where peace dwells. But your deaf ear has but an instant of sensitivity for that voice. That moment is the very last of your life, when agony gives you notice of the impending death of the body. That is when you wish to begin your life anew, to correct your faults, to calm your spirit when faced with the judgment of your conscience, to offer something worthy and meritorious to the Father. If you seek immortality of the spirit, do not fear the arrival of the death that puts an end to human life. Await it prepared. It is under my command, and is therefore always just and opportune, though men often believe otherwise. The gravity of the situation lies not in that men die. It is in the spirit lacking light upon leaving the material world, unable to see the truth. I do not wish for the death of the sinner, but for his conversion. However, when death becomes necessary, either to liberate a spirit or to stop a man from falling into the abyss, my divine justice cuts the thread of that human existence. Know that, in the book of your destiny, I have designated the day and the hour when the doors of the hereafter will open, allowing your spirit to enter. Once you have entered, you will see all of your work on earth and all of your past. You should not wish at that time to hear voices of complaints and accusations against you, nor behold those who point to you as being responsible for their troubles. Do not stand still just because the road appears long, thinking you will never arrive. Keep moving forward, for even over but a single moment lost, your spirit will weep. Who told you that the goal lies in this world? Who has taught you that death is the end, and that you may reach my kingdom in that moment? Death is like a brief dream, after which, restored in strength, the spirit awakens to the caress of my light, as to the beginning of a new day for itself. Death is the key that opens the gates of the prison that you find yourselves in, as long as you were bound to the material, and at the same time, it is the key that opens the doors to eternity. This planet, transformed by human imperfections into a veil of atonement, has been a place of captivity and exile for the spirit. Truly, I tell you, that life on earth is but another step upon the ladder of life. Why do you not understand it in this way? So you might take advantage of all your lessons. That is the reason why many must return to this place, again and again, because they did not understand nor make use of their previous life. You must know that, because the spirit is to be subjected to a long and sometimes difficult trial, it had received proper preparation before being incarnated upon this earth. By having received this preparation, it is not disturbed upon entering this life. It closes its eyes to the past to open them to a new existence, and in this way, from the very first moment, adapts to the world to which it has arrived. How different indeed is the way your spirit prepares for facing the threshold of the spiritual life, once it has left its body and the world behind. As it had lacked true preparation for returning to its home, it feels lost. The sensations of the material still dominate, and it does not know where to go or what to do. This is because it did not learn that one must close one's eyes to this world during the last moment. For it is only in this way that it can open them to the spiritual world that it had left before, where all its past awaited to be reunited with its new experiences, adding its new merits to all its previous ones. As it recovers the light, a dense veil clouds its mind. The tenacious influence of all it had left behind inhibits its ability to feel the oscillations of its conscience. But as the shadows fade, allowing it to unite with its true essence, there will be much confusion and much pain. Is there anyone who, upon hearing or reading this message, will reject it as a useless or false instruction? I tell you, that only he who finds himself on an extreme level of materialism or blind fanaticism could reject this light, without his spirit being profoundly moved. The sleep of death. Spiritual rest, as it is understood and conceived of by your material nature, does not exist. The rest awaiting the spirit is activity, a profound increase in doing good, while not losing even an instant. That is when the spirit rests. It relinquishes its regrets and sorrows. It renews itself by doing good, and rests by loving its creator and its brothers. Truly, I tell you, if the spirit were made to remain inactive in order to rest, in the way that you think of it on earth, the darkness of despair and anguish would overcome it, for the life and light of the spirit, as well as its greatest joy, are work, struggle, and unceasing activity. The spirit that returns from the earth to the spiritual valley, bearing upon itself the fatigue of the flesh, seeking the beyond as a bed to rest in, where it may sink into oblivion, to wipe away the scars of the struggle of life, must come to feel most unfortunate, and will find neither peace nor happiness. That is, until it awakens from its lethargy, realizes the error of its way, and rises to the spiritual life, which is, as I've already described, love, activity, and continual struggle upon the path leading to perfection. Reunion in the beyond. I want you to be men of faith, who believe in the spiritual life. When you have seen your brethren depart to the hereafter, do not consider them distant, nor believe that you have lost them forever. If you wish to be reunited with them, be active, do good, and when you reach the hereafter, there you will find them, waiting to teach you to live in the spiritual valley. Who has not felt uneasy about the life of the hereafter? Who among those who have lost their loved ones in this world have not felt eager to see them again, or at least know where they are? You will know all of this. You will see them again. But you must earn merits now, because it might be that when you leave this earth, and once in the beyond you ask where those whom you expect to find are, you will be told that you cannot see them because they reside on a higher plane. Do not forget, a long time ago I told you that, in the house of the Father, there are many mansions. The judgment of the spirit by its own conscience. When the spirit of some great sinner departs from this material life to enter the spiritual valley, it is surprised to discover that hell, as it had once imagined, does not exist, and the fire of which it was previously told is nothing more than the spiritual repercussions of its own works, when it is faced with the inexorable judge, its own conscience. This judgment in the beyond, this enlightenment dawning amidst the darkness surrounding the sinner, will be more painful than the most searing fire you could ever imagine. However, it is not a torture prepared beforehand as a punishment for the one who offended me. No, this torture originates in the realization of one's own past transgressions, the great sorrow one feels for having offended the one who created him, and for having failed to make better use of the time and the many gifts one had received from the Lord. Do you believe that I should punish those who have offended me by their sins, when I know that the sin harms more so the one who committed it? Do you not see that the sinner brings evil upon himself? I am not increasing the misfortune he has brought upon himself by punishing him. I merely allow him to see himself, to hear the inexorable voice of his conscience, interrogating and answering him, to recover the spiritual memory he had lost in the material world, and to remember his beginnings, his destiny, and his promises. There, in that judgment, he will experience the effects of the fire that exterminates his evil, recasting him like gold in a crucible, separating him from that which is harmful and superfluous, all that is not spiritual. When a spirit stops to hearken to the voice and judgment of its conscience, truly, I say to you, in that moment, it will find itself in my presence. This moment of rest, of serenity, and of clarity does not come to all spirits at the same time. Some readily enter that self-reflection, and in so doing avoid much grief. For while they awaken to reality and recognize their errors, they prepare and ready themselves to make amends for even the last of their wicked deeds. While others, blinded, be it by vice, by some resentment, or by having lived a life of sin, are delayed in their egress of their delusion. Yet others, more dissatisfied, believing they have been torn from the earth before their time, when all had smiled upon them still, curse and blaspheme, delaying their ability to free themselves from confusion. And like these, there are a great number of cases that only my wisdom knows of. You will have to answer for everything, and the more wicked your works are, the more forceful will the judgment you shall receive from yourself be. For it is not I who judges you. That is false. It is your own spirit in its lucid state that serves as both your dreaded prosecutor and terrible judge. It is I who defends you against the confusion, and who absolves and saves you, because I am the love that purifies and forgives. Remember that soon you will be in spirit, and that which you have sown on this earth will also be what you reap. The passing from this life into the other never fails to be a serious and severe judgment for the spirit. None can escape it, even he who considers himself the worthiest of all servants. It is my will that, from the moment you enter the infinite homestead, you cease to feel the fears of the earth, and begin to feel the bliss and delight of having climbed another rung. The last judgment, as interpreted by humanity, is a mistake. My judgment will not be of an hour or day, for it has burdened you for quite some time already. However, truly I tell you, the bodies of the deceased were destined to return and unite with the kingdoms corresponding to their own nature. For what is of the earth shall return to the earth, just as the spiritual shall seek its home, which is my bosom. Yet I tell you also that in your judgment you will be your own judges. For your conscience, your self-knowledge and intuition will tell you to what degree you are worthy, and which spiritual homestead you will inhabit. You will see clearly the road that you must take, for upon receiving the light of my divinity, you shall recognize your acts and judge your own merits. In the spiritual valley, there are many confused and disturbed beings. Bring my message and light to them once you enter that place. You may practice that form of compassion even now, by means of the prayer with which you may establish a connection with them. Your voice will resound in the place where they reside, and it will awaken them from their deep slumber. It will cause them to weep and cleanse themselves with their tears of repentance. In that moment, they will have received a ray of light, for they will have understood their past vanities, their errors, and their sins. How great is the pain of the spirit when the conscience awakens it! How it then humbles itself under the gaze of its supreme judge! How humbly then spring forth from the depths of its being pleas for forgiveness, promises, and blessings of my name. There, the spirit recognizes that it cannot approach the perfection of the Father, and directing its gaze to the earth, where it did not know how to make use of its time and the trials that offered it opportunities to close in on its goal, it asks for another body, to atone for its faults and complete missions as yet unfulfilled. Who then delivered justice? Was it not the Spirit itself that formulated the judgment upon itself? My spirit is a mirror in which you must contemplate yourselves, for this will reveal to you the degree of purity you possess. When your spirit divests itself of its human shell, retreating into its own depths in the sanctuary of the spiritual life, it will examine its past and the results thereof. For many of its acts that had appeared perfect here in the world, worthy of being presented to the Lord and deserving of some reward, seem insignificant during that meditation. The spirit will understand that the meaning of many acts that, in the world, seemed good, were merely expressions of vanity, of false love, of a charity that had not originated in the heart. Who do you believe has given the spirit the enlightenment of a perfect judge, so it might judge itself? The conscience, which, in that hour of justice, will appear to emanate a clarity never before seen, will tell each and every one of you which works on this earth were good, just, righteous, and true, as well as which were evil, false, or impure. All the things you had sown along the way. The sanctuary I have just now spoken to you of is that of the conscience, that temple that none may profane, the temple in which God dwells, and from which his voice and light issue. In the world, you were not ready to enter that sanctuary within, for your human personality always seeks to evade the wise voice that speaks within each and every man. I tell you that when your spirit casts its shell aside, it will finally pause before the threshold of that sanctuary to gather itself, so it might enter and prostrate itself before the altar of the spirit, listening to itself, examine its works in the light emanating from the conscience, and hearing within itself the voice of God speak, as a father, as a master, and as a judge. No mortal could imagine, in its full solemnity, that moment all of you must experience, to know what good you bear within yourselves, how to preserve it, as well as that which you must reject, because you must not bear it any more within the spirit. When the spirit is confronted by its conscience, as it calls itself to mind with the clarity of truth, that being will feel too weak to hear itself. It wished it had never existed, because in an instant all its life will pass before its eyes, what it left behind, what it possessed, and what belonged to it, and that for which it must now finally account. Disciples, humanity, prepare yourselves in this life for that moment, so that when your spirit arrives at the threshold of the temple of the conscience, you will not turn that temple into a courtroom, for the spiritual pain would be so great that no physical pain could ever compare to it. I wish for you to ponder on what I have told you in this teaching, so you might understand how your judgment will be carried out in the spiritual realm. In this way, you will vanquish the image that exists in your imagination of a courtroom presided over by God in the form of an old man, placing on his right his good children, so that they may enjoy heaven, and to his left the wicked ones, so that they may be condemned to eternal punishment. Now the time has come for the light to enter the highest reaches of your spirit and understanding, so that the truth may shine in each and every man, and he may be prepared to enter the spiritual life with dignity. The spiritual consciousness regained. There is nothing in my creation better suited to reveal to each spirit the heights it had reached during its life than the death of the body. And there is nothing more helpful than my word to assist you in ascending to perfection. There you have the reason why my law and doctrine insist time and again on entering the hearts of men, and why the pain and the vicissitudes of men advise them to abandon the paths that, instead of raising them up, lead their spirits into the abyss. How fortunate your spirit will feel in the beyond when your conscience tells you that, on earth, you had sown the seed of love. Your past will appear before your eyes, and every glimpse of your works will bring you endless bliss. The commandments of my law, which your mind has not always been able to retain, will also pass through your spirit, full of clarity and light. Earn merits that will permit you to traverse the unknown with your eyes open to the truth. There are many mysteries that men have tried in vain to explain. Neither human intuition nor human science have been able to satisfy many of the questions asked by men, and the reason is that there is knowledge that is reserved for only the spirit that has entered the spiritual valley. Those surprises that await it, those wonders, those revelations, shall be part of its reward. Yet truly, I tell you, should a spirit arrive in the spiritual world with a blindfold over its eyes, it will see nothing and continue to behold naught but mysteries, where really all should be clarity. This heavenly doctrine that I bring you reveals many beauties and prepares you, so that once you stand in spirit before the justice of the eternal, you will know how to withstand the marvelous reality that will surround you from that moment onward. Receive my light, so that it may illuminate your life's journey, and in the hour of your death, free you from confusion. For then, the moment you pass the threshold of the beyond, you will know who you are, who you have been, and who you will be. In the meantime, will your bodies be lowered into the earth, into whose bosom they will be integrated to increase its fruitfulness, and your conscience, standing over your being, shall not remain upon the earth, but accompany the spirit and be presented to it like a book, whose profound and wise lessons are to be studied. There your spiritual eyes shall open to the truth, and in an instant you will know how to interpret that which you failed to understand your entire life. That is when you will understand what it means to be a child of God and a brother to your fellow men. That is when you will understand the value of all that you have possessed, and feel sorrow and repentance for the mistakes made, for the time lost. For then will the most beautiful resolutions and reparations be born within you. From now on, you shall all strive towards the same goal, reconciling and harmonizing your spiritual lives. Let none believe that they travel a better path than their brothers, nor that they are on a higher rung of the ladder than others. I tell you, at the supreme hour of death, it shall be my voice that tells you the truth concerning your elevation. There, in that brief moment of illumination before the conscience, is where many will receive their reward, but also where many will see their greatness fade away. Is it your desire to save yourselves? Come to me upon the road of brotherhood. It is the only way. There is no other. It is the one written in my greatest commandment. Love one another.